Good morning. It is April the 12th, 2026, 9:30 a.m. in New York on the East Coast. You're watching Sunday Morning Coffee Talk. I am Jen, the GXSimmer. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. This week we've got a lot to talk about, ranging from news in the Sims community to we're going to catch up to my Sim Caleb, see what he's up to. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can join us right on our Discord server. Link is in the chat at the top. You can click onto that, join us in the Coffee Talk Lounge, and make your voice be heard. Okay, so let's talk about what's been going on this week in the Sims community. First of all, I just want to say that I hope you had a nice Easter. I wasn't here last week for Easter, as you know. I took off for the holiday, but in the process of taking off for the holiday, I ended up getting sick. Yes, so I came down with a really bad cold. It was running around my job. I caught it. Everyone at work caught it. And now, I'm better, but I brought it home to my husband, so he's not doing so good. So I hope that he feels better very soon. And with that said, let's talk about what's been going on in the Sims community. Now, there has been a lot of news happening this week, and I really wanted to talk about it several times this week. But unfortunately, I couldn't because I was so busy with my day job and other things. So let's talk about one of the pieces of news I think that is just, it's really wild. And that is the fact that you have a well-known simmer, Lilsimsie, and Congressman Matthew Frost. They are doing a live stream on April the 15th. And basically, this is where they're going to be playing Stardew Valley. Let me bring this down a little bit. Let me bring myself down further so you can see the date. All right, there we go. All right, and basically, this has been brought to Twitch on April 15th at 10 o'clock through the Players Alliance. And the Players Alliance has also put together a petition, and that petition is stating to block the EE deal. Right now they need 40,000 signatures. They're at 39,850 with only 150 more to go. And they are trying to put this on the desk of United States Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent. Now, what do I think about all this? First of all, let me start by saying that I have enormous respect for Lilsimsie. I have nothing against her. I've always thought that what she did was incredible. She started a channel in her teens. She's now in her mid-20s. She has over 2 million subscribers on YouTube, close to 1 million subscribers on Twitch. And she does a lot of good in the community when she tries to. And I also think that she is also very politically motivated too. But part of me feels like this isn't going to be enough to sway the deal either way. One of the reasons why I feel that way is even though it may land on Secretary of the Treasury's desk, what happens after that? They have to have cause for blocking the deal. And if they don't find enough cause for blocking the deal will more than likely go through. Let's look at another famous deal that occurred recently. Let's look at Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Netflix. Netflix thought they were buying Warner Brothers for, I think at the time it was, I want to say 75 billion. If I'm wrong, I will double check that. But Paramount refused to let it go. They wanted Warner Brothers, and they were going to do anything they could to get Warner Brothers. And in the end, they made a huge offer. I think it was 110 billion. Netflix bowed out, and Paramount is now in the process of buying Warner Brothers. And that deal hasn't gone through yet. And this is a huge, huge deal. Now, getting back to EA, Is this enough to block the deal? Would 40,000 signatures make a difference? Possibly. But is it enough to block it? I don't know. I don't know. And even though you have someone with enormous influence that Lilsimsie does, and some people will say, well, who are you? You're just a little channel. Why should we listen to you? She has over 2 million subscribers. True. True. I'm a little channel in a sea of millions. But I have a voice, and I'm making my voice being heard. So whether or not you agree with this opinion, that's up to you. But one thing I do know is how corporations work with buyouts. And when you see these buyouts happen, it's either for the better or the worse of the company. Now, a lot of people say, why do you still support The Sims? You shouldn't be supporting The Sims. And I say to them, well, I'm supporting The Sims because it's my game. It's been my game for over 20 years. And I'm not going to let a buyout affect how I play my game. Now, some people would say, well, you're supporting injustices. You're doing this, you're doing that. Alleged injustices. Okay, I don't know enough about the injustices that are being alleged to comment on it. And there are a lot of injustices throughout the world. Too many. And too many travesties. And I'm not saying that any which one of them are better than the other, worse than the other. But what I'm saying also is I don't like to do the let's wait and see opinion. But when it comes to this buyout, I do think that it is going to go through, regardless of what may land on the desk of Scott Bessent or whoever may try to block it. I do think it's going to go through. And there's one thing you can't control in your life, that is you can't control who your boss is. Your boss is who your boss is. And when that happens, you either do one or two things. You either resign, you stick it out, or they get rid of you. There's different scenarios that can happen. And while I do think the buyout is going to probably result in mass layoffs, there's probably going to be a lot of different sell-offs. It's going to be an interesting situation. It really will be. And what does it mean for the future of The Sims? There's a possibility that somebody could come in, possibly buy The Sims from EA. That is indeed a possibility. We don't know if that will happen. But again, that could work for the better or the worse. Although I do think that I do applaud their attempt to do this. I do applaud their ability to want and try to make a difference. So if you're interested in following up with this, they're going to be doing this live stream on April the 15th at 10 o'clock Eastern Time on Lilsimsie's Twitch. I will put the link in the description if you want to follow up on it. If you're also interested in the petition, I will also put the link in the description as well. But at this time, do I think that this is something that will make a difference overall? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But it's a good attempt by them to try and make a difference. However, do I think it's going to be successful? That I don't believe it will be. I hate to say that, but I don't think it will be. And with that said, let's talk about the other piece of news that happened this week. And that was, there were more leaks about Project X. Now, I'm not going to go into the leaks themselves, and if you would like to see more detail on the links, I'm going to recommend two sources for that. First one is Sims Community. They do an amazing job of reporting on the leakers. And also Pixelate does an amazing job on reporting on the leakers. Even if you don't like some of the things Pixelate says from time to time, Pixelate is really terrific when it comes to reporting on Sims news. And I think that the way he's handling this current report on the leaker is outstanding. So I'm going to recommend Pixelate for news and information on that. But I've been thinking and looking at the leaks lately, and I've been hearing, different things about what this Project X could be. And I myself, as a Sims player for over 20 years, playing every iteration, seeing how the game is developed, what do I think it is? Now, one of the things that I've said on this podcast is that I believe personally that it is an upgrade from 4 into a different iteration. So that way you could possibly keep all your packs and all your Sims and whatnot. And this is not based on any leaked information. This is not based on any... This is my own theory. This is how I feel as a player. Because before I was a content creator, I was just one of those people who just played my game. And there are millions of people out there that don't have any online presence. They just come home, they play their game, and that's it. And I was one of those people. Until I decided, you know what, I want to be a content creator. Let me get into this. So that's what I did. And my personal opinion, seeing how things are going, is I do believe that this will be some kind of upgrade. Now, how will this work? When will we see news about this? I do believe that we'll probably see news from the Sims team possibly around, I would say, the middle of the summer. So I'm thinking around June, July, we may see some actual confirmation about what to expect. We may not. We may not see anything until the end of the year. That's a possibility as well. Because at that time also, the buyout is intended to go through. So once the buyout goes through, that I think will dictate what happens next. But I will say that I intend to stand by The Sims. And one of the main reasons is it's my game. And I believe in supporting the people who make that game. Not necessarily EA, but the people in the Sims team that work tirelessly every day to develop this content. And for that reason, I am sticking by them. I would not abandon them. And I don't intend to. But I also, am I happy about the current ownership? Not really. But will I see how it goes? Yes. Yes, I will. Because I've always been like that. I've always been like, let's give somebody a chance to prove themselves. Even if I disagree with them, I'll give them a chance to prove themselves. And if I don't like what they're doing, then I'll say, you know what? I don't like what you're doing. And I don't support you any longer. That has always been my stance. Because I don't believe in being all the way over here, all the way over here. I believe like somewhere in the middle, like right here. That's always been the way I've believed and the way I've grown up. I mean, you guys may not know this, but there was a time when people, different opinions, could sit at the same table and actually have a conversation, whether they were Republican or Democrat, independent, didn't matter. Black, white, Asian, Native American, who knows? Whoever was sitting at the table could sit at that table and have a conversation, calmly, rationally, instead of people screaming at each other nowadays. And that's something I think we've lost as a country, I think, is that we've lost the ability to actually rationally, calmly sit down with somebody from an opposite spectrum and be able to have the tough conversations. And we're seeing division right now in our own community. I mean, I might get severe fallout for speaking like this today. But you know what? I didn't start this podcast just to talk about fun things. And I didn't start this podcast to talk about the easy things or just some basic news. I started this podcast because I wanted to voice my opinion, both as a player and a content creator, how I feel things are going in the Sims community. In fact, one of the first iterations of this podcast was a series that I did called Sims Team, What the Hell Are You Doing? And at that time, I would honestly, that's what I would do when I would look at my game sometimes. I go, Sims Team, what the hell are you doing? So when I decided to do Cawfee Talk, I wanted to do something that was a little different from that you could engage with me and talk to me about your thoughts and opinions and how you feel about the current situation and what you think is going to happen overall. And that's, I think, where we are now as a community. You know, there is a lot of division in our community over this. There are some people who are just like, I'm going to wait and see. And there are some people that say, no, you can't wait and see. You have to fight out against this. You have to strike back against this. But it doesn't always work that way. You know, there's some people that just, we have to look at what the Sims team is up against. They can't control who their boss is. Some of them may stay with the company. Some of them may leave the company over this. Some of them may even be laid off, unfortunately. And I hope that's not the case. But whatever happens is going to happen. And even though you have a group of people who think that they can change this course of action, is it likely? I don't know. I don't think so. I'm going to be honest there. You know, even though there's tremendous influence there, is it enough to make a difference? I gotta say, I don't know. Or more so, I don't think so. But you never know. Sometimes an effort can begin and then grow from that. And we could certainly see that happening. And if that happens, I'll be like, wow, that's amazing. So I guess the only thing we can do is see what happens when that podcast goes through on the 15th. And we can also see what happens when this petition, if this petition lands on the desk of the Secretary of the Treasury, and see if that perhaps makes any type of a difference. Because for all we know, it could. But do I think it will? Honestly, when you're dealing with deals of this size, it's unprecedented. And the likelihood of it happening is very small. I mean, they have to really prove that this deal is bad in order for it to go through. And by bad, I mean not just because the people involved or people you may not like, you know, if they've done everything they're supposed to, then there's very little that can be done to stop it. But we will see what happens when that goes through. And as for Project X, again, you know, I have a difference of opinion on it. You know, I see a lot of these leaks, and I do take them with a grain of salt, because I'm not inclined to believe what these leakers are saying. Even though they've been correct on some issues and some of the things they predicted, like the marketplace, for instance, or dedicating an entire year to bug fixes. Do I still believe them? No. No, I don't. And the reason why I don't believe them is because I always go by the official source. And I believe that that's what we should do, honestly, is to go by the official source. I've said this before. I said this last week too. I'm saying it now. And what is to be expected from the next iteration? Let's say it is an upgrade. Let's say they've made a multitude of improvements. Maybe something even better for us in the long run. Is it something that we're going to invest into in the future? We don't know yet. We have to see it in action. A lot of speculation, a lot of people thinking of a million different things. My personal opinion is I do think it is an upgrade. And this is my opinion based on as a player. Not from any leak, not from any news report, just from what I'm seeing alone as a player. And I do think that if it is an upgrade, it needs to benefit us tremendously in order to be successful. It needs to have features that we haven't seen in the game before. And we need to be able to have access to our already purchased content. Now, a lot of people say, but how? That's tons and tons of data. Tons and tons of code. Isn't that code going to wear down? I'm not a programmer. I can't answer that question. But maybe there is a way for them to have corrected that. We'll see. All we need to do is wait and see. And if you have any questions or comments on what I've just talked about, let me know now down in the comments. And also make your voice known on Discord. The Coffee Talk Lounge is now open, pinned at the top of the chat. Come on and make your voice known. Love to hear what you have to say about this. Okay, so now let's jump into the second part of this podcast, which is to follow up with Mr. Caleb and see what he's up to. So that is exactly what we're going to do now. So let's jump into game with Mr. Caleb and see what's been going on since the last time we saw him. All right, so as we can see, Caleb's having a little bit of an argument with his husband here. And it's even gotten so far as to say, I'm feeling very unsatisfied in our relationship. If you are mean to me while I feel this way, I may have to divorce you. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Is that going to happen? Let's find out. And if you're just joining us, this is Sunday Morning Coffee Talk. Love to have you. And if you have any opinion about anything we talked about today so far, please let me know down in the comments.
Moochie Peachy. Bar. Sword.
Alright, so here we are with Caleb.
Fanchi. Palachaba. Shamoosh.
Let's see if
Narbo
he's
Shoy.
again with his husband.
Nalfi
He has been
Duba.
working a while. Does he? No, he has to go to work in 14 hours, so he's off today. Okay, good.
Balakuma Fej. Yemple Swabe.
I'm going to have
Kama Swabe. Zagalafib Sikflusta.
Aha! Yaril Onaga, Flarib, Zimze, Hiraru!
Dislikes arguments. Yes.
Well,
he
now.
dislikes arguments.
Goinji.
Now this may
Simlumwa to me.
argue about Korea.
Carson Che. Grano, Janina.
Let's see. Oh,
Nord. Oh, Imbo. Warwick.
oh, practice the for a clear mind. Okay.
Yep, Jabim Derka.
I gotta get angry first.
Oh, nah.
Come on, Caleb.
Carson Che. Grano, Janine. Whew. Bente Copa. Thorna Oots. Yibs.
Okay.
Scarf. Whew.
Is he gonna get him mad enough to have
Oh!
person?
Cheeto! Crude. Ribi Pastoy! Double ta!
Unga. Dow.
Nigim! Pizoi!
Bambic Trimba. Oh. Charky Growl.
Hey Jen,
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Lyra?
Lyra is so tired.
I
I
imagine
am.
so. I know you've been burning the midnight oil with the live streams lately.
I know. I've been working so hard.
You've been doing really awesome. Congratulations on all
Thank
your
you.
success.
Thanks, Jen.
You're very welcome. So, what do you got coming up today?
Tonight I'm playing Resident Evil,
Nice.
but I'm only going to play that. I have it scheduled for this week and next week, and then that's going to be pre-recorded because now I have memberships. So that's going to be in like the membership section of the content.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to hear that. I know you've been working.
I'm I miss you all though.
Oh, we miss you too.
It's so hard like trying to like commit community build for yourself and find your own people, and like I'm spreading myself thin like crazy, but now that I finally reached that goal, I feel like I can breathe a little bit.
I hear you. I know what it's like too. I'm in the same boat trying to build the channel too, and but you've been doing phenomenal. I mean, you've been working so hard, and it shows. And your community is very appreciative of all your efforts.
I think it was really more like me once I stopped playing The Sims, which is so sad to say because I love The Sims. I'll always play The Sims, but honestly, that community wasn't as nice to me as the other communities that I'm building. Like, I mean, there's been a couple people who I met from that community, like you, KT, Candy has always been great. I'm trying to think of other people. Chris, I don't know if you know Chris.
Yeah, I know Chris. Chris is
Yeah,
great.
like there's a couple of people that have been really great and very supportive, but once I started playing other games and people actually started tuning in, I'm like, wow, okay, this is cool.
That's phenomenal. There is a lot of division in the Sims community right now. And
Still,
yeah, still. And it's I think it's only getting worse as time goes on. But one of the things I think that's good is that there is this group of people that is not letting the toxicity affect them. And I'm one of those people, and KT is one of those people, and Rocky and Candy and you. That's the important thing.
I did see that they're trying to stop that buyout.
Yeah, I was just talking about it. I was really surprised. I'm really surprised to see this happen, but I can see from their perspective that they're trying to do anything possible to stop the buyout. I don't think they're going to be successful with it, but I do think it's a good effort on their part to try and make some type of effort,
I
which
will
is
say though that when all this started happening and like the not Malcolms of it all, the way that they were criticizing Lilsimsie and stuff like that,
mm-hmm.
like the girl can't win. I'm waiting to see what people are saying about her now. And I'm not really a Lilsimsie fan like that. I think she's great. I don't follow her, but I think she's great. I'm waiting to see what they're going to say about her now because just as hard as they were on her for
Ooh.
some of the other decisions she was making in the moment, because those were in the moment decisions, I want to hear people giving her credit for what she's trying to do, but we're not going to see it because negativity, you get more views with that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The negative streamers are having a field day with this. But one thing I will say is that I have enormous respect for Lilsimsie. I think that what she has done has been phenomenal. She grew a channel from her mid teens to her 20s, 2 million subscribers, a million on Twitch. She's partnered with the Sims team multiple times. She's built for the Sims team multiple times. But I really do believe that she's very passionate about this buyout, that she's very against the owners of the future owners of EA, and she wants to do anything in her power to stop it. And I do applaud her for trying to make an effort. I think that is an amazing effort on her part to partner with U.S. Representative Maxwell Frost and have this conversation about the buyout. She's also working, I think, with Zephyrin. I don't know much about Zephyrin. I've heard of Zephyrin, but I've never watched any of Zephyrin's content. And I
I
do
think
think
that the next thing will be, oh, she's performative. I think that's going to be the next thing.
I really don't think it is performative. I really
I
don't
don't think so either
no.
at all. I think that she's doing her part. I think that, but I think that the critique is going to be, it's already done. This is performative. I think that's what it's going to be.
Right. That's what a lot of people will say. That's what a lot of negative simmers will say. My personal opinion is I do not think it is performative. However, when you're talking about a buyout of this size, is this podcast or this petition actually going to make a difference? That's
I don't think so.
I
I
don't think
think that
so either.
money talks.
I don't think so either. Because here's the thing, that petition may land on the desk of U.S. Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent. And they may review it, but then they have to say, okay, what about this buyout makes it invalid? What about this buyout makes it illegal or non-transactional? That's the question. And if they can't find something in the documentation that voids it, the real truth is the buyout is going to go through, especially with an amount of money this size. Now, would it be wonderful if they could make a difference? I think it would be phenomenal. You know, it's true David versus Goliath story. But do I think they're going to be successful? I honestly need to say no, just from a business perspective. But do I think it's a good effort on their part? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it comes from a place of love. I do think that she cares about the Sims so much that she wants to do anything she can to stop it. But at the same time, will future owners remember this if and when this goes through? Now, that's the question we need to ask. Leira, you still with me?
I'm just thinking about what you just said.
Oh, I thought I lost you for a second.
Wow, that's an interesting perspective. I don't think that it's going to be stopped, and I don't think the owners, I don't think they're going to care. I think all they care about is making money.
And I think you're right. At the end, it's all about the dollars. Who's got the biggest bang for the buck? Let's look at another merger that happened recently. Warner Brothers, Netflix, Paramount. It looked like the Warner Brothers and Netflix deal was totally going to go through. I mean, Netflix made that huge announcement about buying Warner Brothers and having their catalog and everything. And Paramount said, no, we want this company. We're going to do anything we can to get this company. And in the end, Paramount offered a crazy amount of money in a hostile takeover, basically. And they won. Now, that buyout hasn't gone through yet either. So that is pending too, as is the EA buyout. But when you're dealing with amounts of money of this size, it's coming from an unprecedented time in history. We've never seen companies offer this much money for companies before. So it's kind of uncharted territory in a way. So now,
I hope that they do something, though.
I would hope they could do something too, but what can they do? That's the question. What can they do? When it lands on the secretary's desk, what options does the secretary have?
So it hasn't gone through already.
No, it hasn't gone through. It's due to
Because
go through.
I've heard some people say that it has gone through.
It's supposed to go through, I think, this summer, beginning of June, July, around there. That's when it actually goes through. Because I think that's one of the reasons why they want to have this petition and this live stream to thwart any way possible this buyout. But let's throw something out here. Here's something interesting I was thinking about earlier that I wanted to talk about too on the podcast. And I'm glad you brought this up. What if at the 11th hour you have another player come in? Let's just say we'll throw Company X out there. And Company X could be anybody you think of, Amazon, whatever, allegedly. And Company X says, okay, listen, I want this company. I'm ready to pay $85 billion for it right now. And they buy it. And they become worse than the company that was going to buy it.
Wow.
Now that is a possibility as well. Because Company X could come in and start selling off all these studios, laying off all these people. And why?
Excuse me.
To make more money.
That's an interesting perspective.
So that could happen too. And what if the buyers originally did not have those plans in mind? Now, do I think that once the deal goes through, are they thinking of selling off some studios? Possibly. Do I think that there's going to be layoffs when this deal goes through? Unfortunately, I have to say yes. Because that's always the effect when the buyouts go through of these corporate deals. The workers always suffer. But who are they going to cut? That's the question. Is it going to be the Sims? I don't think so, because the Sims makes money for them. Are they going to keep some of the more, like for instance, FIFA and Madden, those titles? Definitely. Those make money for them hand over fist. But so does The Sims too. And The Sims has a huge player base. So would they cut that? Probably not. So what ramifications does that leave for the rest of the Sims team? Well, they can either stay where they are, and in a lot of cases, they have no choice but to stay where they are because of life, responsibilities, houses, cars, children in college. They can resign, but how many are going to do that? Or God forbid they get laid off.
That happens with companies all the time, though.
Right. So really, we don't know until this goes through what the end result's going to be. But I do think that it is going to happen. And no matter what fundraiser or protest, even if 1 million people decided to protest in front of EA tomorrow, would it make a difference? No, I don't think so.
No, it's nice of her to be doing something to try.
I think so too. And I do applaud her efforts to do it. I think it is a good effort. And you know what? Maybe she might even be able to get a little steam on it. Maybe she might be able to make some kind of a dent. And if she accomplishes that, that's an amazing feat in itself. But do I think it's enough to stop the deal? I don't think so. Because think about how many petitions there have been launched and how many petitions that have failed versus how many petitions that have succeeded. And when you look at the petitions that have succeeded, usually it's because there is something behind it that is beneficial not just to the individual, but to the company as well.
Are people still are they talking about her live stream? Because I'm not seeing a lot of people talking about it.
I saw Sims community talking about it, and I also saw Pixely talking about it. But the way I found out about it is I saw the advertisement on Lilsimsie's post that she made herself. And I wanted to talk about it right then and there, but I was busy last week and I couldn't do it. Um, so I wanted to come on to Coffee Talk today and talk about it because I think it's an important issue that we should discuss because it does relate to Sims news and it does relate to the future of the game.
The only person I saw talk about it was Pixelated. That was the only person.
I saw Sims community talk about it too. I saw a couple of others, and I hear a lot of chatter on Twitter about it. But I think it's going to pick up more steam as we get closer to it.
Do you know what date her stream is?
Yes, I'm going to put it on the screen right now. There you go. It's going to be on April 15th at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Well, actually, no, it says 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Okay, so it's an hour on her Twitch.
That definitely sounds more accurate than like 4 hours. That's a long time.
Yeah. At first, I was like
Did
to 1 a.m. But then it says 11 a.m. Yeah.
Did you already sign the petition?
I did not. And one of the reasons why I didn't sign the petition is because in the past, when I've signed petitions, I get all these things in my email about other petitions. And I get bombarded with advertisements and this and that. And I'm just like, no. Plus, I don't think that honestly, even if this does land on if they reach the goal of 40,000 and it lands on Scott Bessent's desk, what is he going to do after that?
So you just don't think that there's any hope for it?
I don't think that it's going to be enough to change the conditions of the buyout because in order for them to change the conditions of the buyout, there's got to be some kind of transaction that voids it. And even if they do go looking for this transaction, I don't think they're going to find it. I think that they've really, when they decided to do this deal, they did so in a way to make sure that all the T's were crossed and all the I's were dotted. Because when you have a deal this size, you don't want any kind of hindrance whatsoever preventing it. So you need to make sure that everything is on the level. Now,
When does it go through, though, completely?
it could. It could. You know, let's look at the other side of the coin. Let's say this lands on the secretary's desk. He goes through the deal. He finds something, little something that's enough to block it. And then he proposes to the president to stop the deal. And the deal is stopped. What happens after that? That's the question now. So the deal is stopped. It remains with EA. But what happens afterwards?
I feel like the game is already pretty much, I feel like they've kind of killed their own game.
They've done a lot to hinder it sometimes. I think that they haven't made the best choices when it comes to the game at times.
The
But
marketplace is an awful idea. And I get it, console players are going to eat it up.
right.
And I know it's doing well. But that little spout that they had where everybody's CC wasn't working,
Yeah.
players like me that tend to be more positive, for me, that was a very frustrating week.
I didn't like that myself. I was a little upset that my mods in CC weren't working properly either. But you know what? They did fix it. And when they do have those type of game breaking bugs, they do try to get to them as quickly as possible. Now, the other flip side about the marketplace, and I have said this publicly, and I'm probably going to get roasted in the comments for saying this now, is I do think that the marketplace is a good idea. Now, here's why I say this. Even though PC and Mac players do have access to custom content and mods, there is a huge segment of players on PC Mac that don't use content or mods at all. They don't trust
Right.
them, they don't like them, they want nothing to do with them. And these are the people who are silent players. They just play their game. They don't have a social media presence, or if they do, they're low key. They may share a screenshot in a group. They may just talk a little bit, but they don't have an online presence. When we look at the amount of people there are actually content creators like us, the number is very small as compared to the rest of the player base. I think the player base is closer to maybe around 500 million, if I'm not mistaken. And at this time, almost closer to 1 billion. So that's a huge number.
It is.
And if you take the amount of content creators there are, let's say just worldwide there's 1 million content creators. That's a small number in comparison to the rest of the player base. And in that player base, there is a huge segment of millions of players who don't use custom content at all, who don't use mods at all, want nothing to do with it. And that's what the marketplace is designed for those players in particular. Now, here's what's funny. The marketplace has made money since launch.
I know, I've seen the numbers.
Huge profit for them. Not
Yeah, it's doing well.
Not windfall, but huge profit. And why? Why? Because now you have that segment of players who are saying, wow, this is endorsed by EA. It's safe to put in my game. I can now get the custom content that people are all talking about from all these famous creators that we've heard about, aside from the kits and whatnot. And also, I think it's good for CC creators to earn a little extra money. Even though they're not earning a lot, one of the things I think the CC creators love most of all is when Sims team comes up to them and say, hey, we like your stuff, we want to put it in game. And that's just like, what? You know, they love that. I've spoken to several CC creators who've told me that, you know, it's not the dollar amount. It's the fact that they're in game. And I'm not going to say who.
They
But
do deserve to get recognition for their hard work of
absolutely.
creating custom content. So in that regards, I understand it. But that I will say that week, Jen, I was losing my mind.
Me too. Me too. I was going nuts with that.
I'm very disappointed in the way that they handled that because it almost feels like it was intentional. And I know it could be the conspiracy theorist in me, but I felt like, are they messing with me? Why won't my custom content work?
I know. I felt that same way too. I was like, what's going on here? Why isn't this doing what it needs to do? And I was just, you know, going crazy with that. But actually, Leira, give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back. I just need to do one thing. Excuse me, everyone. I shall return.
Oh, hey, C-Jack. Jen is going to do something. She'll be back. Good morning. Thank you for hanging out with Jen and popping in to support. She does these coffee talk. She does them, I think, every Sunday. This is like my first time being able to catch her because I'm on such a high right now from reaching 1,000 and getting those memberships that I didn't sleep last night.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm on such a high. Like the last stream that I did, I had the worst social anxiety because I know it's hard for people to believe, but I'm a very shy person.
I would never guess that.
Yeah, I'm a very introverted, shy person. And so I've always said that I don't want to grow the channel too crazy because I feel like I'm going to start having social anxiety again. I think that a lot of people that create content are introverts. And I don't think we talk about that enough. Like, we're on the internet for a reason.
Right.
Like, we're inside of our homes doing this, and interacting with humans online is a lot easier than it is for me to like go out and, like, for example, my sons had basketball games yesterday. I showed up to the basketball games, and this can come off like I'm a little bit, I guess, rude when I'm not. Like, I'm the sweetest person ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I showed up to the game. I had my sunglasses on because I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I sat like all the way in the section of the bleachers where I know nobody else sits because I did not want to interact with human beings.
Wow.
But
I get
then, like, when I get online, it's totally different.
I get that though. I get that though because there are times when I go somewhere and I just want to be myself. And oh, by the way, hey, C Jack, thank you for coming by. We got C Jack in the chat. That is so awesome. And I feel that way too. It's interesting that you brought that up about being an introvert because I kind of feel like I'm an introvert too. Even though I do this, and even though I've gotten up there and done public speaking at events, and I've always done some form of podcast throughout my career, in essence, I'm the type of person who is just, I don't like going out to loud places or clubs or, crowded events. I'm more content with just a quiet afternoon, reading a book, watching a movie. Like, for instance, my husband and I, we went to go see Project Hail Mary about 3 weeks ago. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Had the time of my life. And it's these quiet little moments that I love most of all. And when I decided to do this, like you were saying, I thought to myself at first, I'm like, can I actually do this? Can I actually put myself out there on camera? And the answer to that question was yes. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast, because just to talk about whatever comes to mind and be real with people and have a real conversation about important issues, not just in our Sims community, but overall. Because I think that's how we reach people and allow them to feel like it's okay to feel that way. You're not alone when you feel that way. Someone else is going through that too.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that in my case, because I can talk to people and I speak really well and I advocate for myself extremely well, people often, and I think some of it also is like the way that I look and the way that I can present. People think like I'm an extrovert, but I'm really not. I think that there's something to be said for like people who spend their time online playing video games. Looks can really be deceiving when it comes to people who spend their time online playing video games. I think that
Yes.
most of us would rather be at home playing video games, and there's a reason that we do what we do online.
Yes. Yeah. There is that perception as well. Some people think that there's a certain type of person that is into this. And what they don't realize is that so many different people play video games. So many different people are content creators. And I feel very happy to be in your company and others like you, like us. And our community grows every day because people are stepping out more and more and making their voices known. And I think it's just phenomenal that they do. Like I think that there are more people today who play video games than any time in history. It used to be something that you would shun, especially if you were a girl. Like when I was
Oh my
younger,
gosh. That's so true.
when I was younger, when I was a teenager, if you talked about video games as a girl, people were like, guys play video games. Why do you want to play video games? You know, there was that stigma associated with it. But I didn't care. I did it anyway. And I'm glad I did. And I love
Yeah,
being.
my video game journey was interesting though. I'm sure yours was too because The Sims wasn't always a thing.
No.
Were you playing games before The Sims?
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
What kind of games would you play?
I was playing Star Trek games mostly. I was playing, because I love Star Trek, as you can tell by the poster on my wall. Um, I was playing games like Mortal Kombat. I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog. I was playing Mario. I was playing the Atari games back in the day. I was even playing a version of Dungeons and Dragons on the computer sometimes, and Myst. I mean, those are like old school games. And then what happened with The Sims is my nephew wanted it for a birthday present, and I bought it for him, and he was so happy that he asked me to play it with him, and I did, and I was hooked. And that's how they got me. Um, excuse me. It's a little bit of this cold still lingering.
It's been like that though. I think it's for me, it's allergies. I wake up every day and feel congested.
I was really sick during Easter, and
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
it was like everybody at work had it, and now I brought it home. My husband has it, but it was, yeah, it was, this thing was bad. It wasn't, the other thing. I don't know if we can say the word anymore online. The C virus. Let's just call it that. It wasn't that because I did a test. I was okay, but it was this just lingering, nasty spring cold. And I think one of the reasons for it is because it's been so cold, and then all of a sudden it warmed up, and then it went back to cold again, and it's this craziness in the weather. It's confusing. So I picked it up from work, and it just went right around my workplace, and yeah, it was horrible. I was so upset. We were going to go to my sister-in-law's for Easter, so I missed out on that. Would have been an amazing dinner.
So when you found The Sims, this is just because I didn't get a chance to ask you. When you found The Sims, you stopped playing other games, didn't you?
When I found The Sims, I was floored by it. I loved it. I still played other games, but more so The Sims. And I
Because
even now I still play other games aside from The Sims.
see, and
But
my journey was like totally different. Like when I found The Sims, that's all I played. Like I have not touched other video games until like now.
wow.
And I used to play like no, no, no. There was a system before that, but I can't remember it. It was a system before that, but I don't remember
Super
it.
Super
It
Nintendo?
was something like that, but I remember the Nintendo 64 vividly because I think this is when I was officially like old enough to be playing games and my memory could serve me when I'm recalling games that I used to play as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I played 007 a lot.
Oh, wow.
A lot. That was one of those games I used to play with my siblings and we'd have a blast. And
That's a
then
great game.
I played the Mario. I still remember the theme song from the Mario on the 64 that I used to play. I'm not going to do it right now and embarrass myself, but I used to play that Mario on 64 where he would go through like certain pictures to get to different levels. And then I used to play wrestling.
Oh,
Those were
wow.
the games. Yeah, I'm a huge wrestling fan since I was like 8. And so those are the games that I would play. And I remember with wrestling, they had like a create a character mode, and
Mm-hmm.
I would live there.
Oh wow.
Like
And you could.
I would make characters all the time. And then once I found The Sims, I was like, I think I was like 9 or 10, and I still remember the box computer that we put it on with the AOL dial-up.
Yes.
Because when the mods came out, I
Mm-hmm.
remember breaking the computer so many times that my brother uninstalled The Sims and we got into a big fight because we had one box computer that we all had to share.
See, I didn't have that experience. I was already like 28 or 29 when they came out. Um, so it was like I was I was an adult. I was grown, but always felt like, am I playing a kids game? And then I was like, no, I'm not playing a kids game. But I absolutely loved it, and it was a nice escape for me because I would work all day, and I was single at the time, and I would play The Sims. And even when I was dating somebody or whatever, afterwards, if it was a good date, great. If it was a bad date, I'd come home and play The Sims, or find an excuse to leave early to play The Sims, you know. And I just think that it's been such a force in my life from that day on. And I've played every single iteration of The Sims, from Sims 1 to Sims 4.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm curious about what the future is going to hold in the next version. And I talked about this a little earlier. But would it be enough for me to get all 4 at that point? I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna buy it regardless. They know, and what you just said about feeling like, are you playing a kid's game? I just want to speak to that. Is like, I'm so happy that ageism in video gaming communities are dying. Like,
Yes.
I love seeing more and more video gamers that are of age that are facing less judgment and discrimination. And I'm so happy to see that, because the older I get, I just made 37. I'm
Hey,
always going to play video games. Like, you
me too.
can't shame me out of playing video games. That's never going to happen.
Me too. I love playing video games, and I will never get shamed out of it. You know, you need to be who you are. You need to be true to who you are. And being true to who you are also includes playing video games. Absolutely, 100%. And I'm glad to see that there's another channel I follow. She's really fantastic. She's called Sims for Seniors.
Oh, wow. You'll
And
have to share that with me.
yeah, she is phenomenal. She did this apocalypse storyline. It was great. I was glued to it, and she did it so well. She did the apocalypse challenge,
I
and
never even heard of that challenge. Sounds cool, though.
I'll share it with you. It's really great, and basically, you're a survivor of a nuclear war, and you have certain criteria you have to follow, and you can't deviate from it. And she did it, but she also worked it like a let's play story, and it was scripted, and it was great. She did such a good job with it.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, and that gives you an example of, you know, who's playing The Sims. Sims is for everybody. And I love the fact that I found a group of people that close to my age that I can resonate with. You know, KT and I would do the podcast Friday Night Live. We have a blast with that. And I just love doing this. I love reaching out to people and getting their thoughts and opinions on different subjects, and just the way that this game has shaped us all in some way.
Yeah, same. KT's community in itself, the day I stumbled upon it, I'm like, wow, who is this nice lady?
Yeah.
Like, who is this? And it's just one of the most like welcoming communities that I've found.
Absolutely.
So I always get busy, but I'm always gonna come back. Like that's always home. I love The Sims. I really do. I need to start playing it more. But man, I've been so busy. Like people, and it's funny though, like now that I'm really starting to find my people, people show up no matter what I play.
Absolutely. There was I was watching the Y Files. I love the Y Files. It's one of my favorite YouTube channels. And they have a podcast they do called The Basement. And it's basically, they talk about all kinds of stuff, UFOs, cryptozoology, all the crazy stuff, you know. And they were talking about how they started their channel and the challenges they faced with the channel. And one of the things they said, and I talked about this on the podcast before, is the way to build a successful channel is to have the community. Once you have the community and they believe in you and they stay with you and they resonate with you, those are going to be your ride or dies. They're going to follow you everywhere. And that is what's going to propel the growth. And I see that with you. I see that with KT. I see that with myself. And I know I could grow faster. I know I could grow faster if I put a little more time into it. But I know that if I did, I would be sacrificing my own welfare by doing that.
It is exhausting. It honestly is. It's work.
It
I don't think
absolutely
people
is.
talk about that part of it. It's even turning your camera on every day. And when I was talking about that anxiety, it's like if I was faceless, the anxiety goes away for me.
That's how I feel. Right now, talking to you, just kicking back, talking to you, talking to C Jack in the chat, and our silent viewers watching too. I see you. I appreciate you. Thank you. I don't feel any anxiety whatsoever. I feel like I am being my most truest version of myself right now, hanging out with you guys, just talking, having a great time, enjoying my coffee. And I love doing this podcast. For me, it's just a great way to connect. And that's really what I wanted for this podcast when I started it. I wanted to connect. And I'm glad I've been able to do that. And being on the 12th episode right now, it's so wonderful to see what we've accomplished. And I say we because my husband Marty is the silent partner of GXSimmer.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. And, we really have great visions for the future for this channel. And I'm just excited about the content that's coming out later and what I want to do and how I want to do it. And I'm glad that all of you are here for the ride. And I appreciate that. And I love meeting people, having this wonderful friendship with you and KT and Candy. And, I never thought I'd experience that as a content creator. And I'm so glad that I have. Because,
Yeah, it's the same.
everyone's journey is different, but it's wonderful to be able to discuss your journey with others who are going through the same thing that you are and learning how to be a better creator and a better player and a better person overall. And I love that we have, this ability just to talk about anything here. And that's really why I wanted to do this format, that we can just sit here and talk. And at least, and CJax said something very important I want to point out. He says, at least being in people's streams of Discord, my anxiety doesn't bother me because I have it bad. Something, CJack, I suffer with anxiety too. It has been like my little, it's sometimes the most horrible thing that I experience. But I also made a decision a long time ago that I was never going to let my anxiety stop me from accomplishing the things in life I wanted. And what I do is when I stand up to the anxiety, I say, you are not in control of me. I'm in control of me. And I'm not going to let you, anxiety, dictate how I run my life. And sometimes it works. And sometimes it doesn't. And when it doesn't, I just say, it's okay. I'm in control. I've got this. And that's how I personally have dealt with it throughout my life. Because there were some times I honestly thought that, you know, I wasn't smart enough or I wasn't good enough, because the anxiety would just take control and make me have these weird tics or this, you know, this fear. And for a variety of situations, it could just even be going to somebody's party with people you don't know and you're just like, oh my God, when can I get out of here? But what I've learned to do, and it took some time to master this. It even took some time in therapy to master this. I will go so far as to say that. If I want to be successful in life, I need to stand up to the anxiety. And I need to tell the anxiety that I'm in control. And that's one of the reasons why I think I can do this now, because I have that ability to say, anxiety doesn't overrule me. I do. Anxiety takes a back seat when I'm in charge.
I think that's easier the older you get too.
It takes practice.
I think it comes with, but I still get it. I do, like, it creeps up on you
It
sometimes.
does. I'm not saying I'm in charge of it all the time. I'm not. You know, I've had times where it's been like, oh God, no, don't do this to me. And it's won. Even recently as a couple of years ago. Because I had this, I'll tell you a story. I had this conference call. It's a conference call. It wasn't even face cam. And I had to do a presentation and I locked up completely. I was just like, you know, no voice came out. I was petrified. And I was trying to find my voice, my thinking. Nothing was working. So I just, you know, I stepped back. I was red in the face the whole time and I was shaking like a leaf, but I managed to get through it. And it was tough. It was really tough. And there are times even now I feel it creep up on me. And I understand what C-Jack is saying. He says sometimes he has a hard time calming down because your heart is racing. I totally get that. I totally get that. I've been there. And you're right, Leira. It does come with age. But it's also, I think, a process. Everyone handles it differently. The way that I do it, I always say to myself, there are certain things I want to do, and I'm not going to let it stop me. Even though sometimes it does interfere. It does. But I think, you know, just talking about it, having the ability to discuss it, that helps. You know, you can say, yeah, I have anxiety. I'm not ashamed of it. So do millions of other people who may be watching. But everyone handles their anxiety differently. And you know what? Even when you do have that occasional panic attack, even when you do have that sense of dread and you're shaking and you're not sure what to do, it's okay. Because it's going to pass. And when it does, you're going to be okay on the other end. And that's how I honestly feel about it. It's taken me a long time to learn that. And if I could pass on any message about it, I could say that it's been one of the hardest things that I've ever had to manage in my life. Because, it basically just takes control of you sometimes. And to the point of where you feel like you can't control it yourself. But just acknowledging it, just talking about it sometimes, that helps. And I'm glad one of the things that we have nowadays is the fact that there isn't that stigma any longer towards anxiety. There isn't that stigma towards mental health in general, that we
Oh,
can discuss it openly and freely.
I
And
mean,
not,
back when I was coming up, that wasn't even a thing.
me too.
Like anxiety wasn't a thing. There wasn't a name for what you were feeling.
No,
Now people name their feelings and what's happening to them. Back then, it was like, girl, you better shake it off and be all right.
that's exactly right. It was like, suck it up, buttercup, get out there.
Exactly.
There was a lot of that. There was definitely a lot of that. Or, it's just nerves. You'll get over it. But I think as a society, we've learned to recognize that it is a condition and it does need treatment. And I'm glad that there is more of an influence now, more so than ever, on mental health and treating different conditions ranging from anxiety to manic depression to whatever it is people are going through. And it's good that there's this focus now on it, because we need to concentrate on this more so now than ever, because I see so much in this country that's wrong, and I say to myself, if we have more outreach for that, that can help so many people. And that's what I believe in myself. And thank you so much, CJack. That was such a nice thing for you to say. I'm glad you like the channel too. We're so glad to have you. I really appreciate you. And wow, I didn't expect to get on this topic today. But you know what? That's the beauty of this podcast, is that we can talk about anything. And I'm so glad that we had this discussion. I mean, this is an important discussion to have. I think that a lot of people identify with this, and you never know. If someone's listening today, we may have helped them. We may have given them some kind of glimmer of hope for the future.
Oh, I hope so. And even coming from me, when I tell people, that I have it, anxiety, they're like, "Really, you?" I'm like, "Yes, me too."
And I would never think that, speaking to you. You never seem like you have anxiety at all.
Oh, that means I'm winning. I love that.
That's awesome.
That means that I'm winning. The fact that it's you never see me sweat and you guys say that, but I know what my body is feeling. That means I'm winning to some degree. So I get happy when people say like, "Oh, I would have never thought that about you," and my insides are screaming. I'm like, that means I'm winning.
That is awesome. That is amazing. And just to hear you say that, that's, yeah, you are winning. You are taking control. And I think that is incredibly brave. And I'm going to give it up to you, girl. I'm going to, here
Thanks,
we go.
Jen. I
100%.
give it up to anybody that puts themselves out there and make content because it's not always pretty. Like, do you get mean comments?
Occasionally, yeah. When I do, I go, oh, look, I got a hater. Awesome. Because you know why? Haters are a sign of success. If you've got a hater, you're doing something right.
Oh gosh, don't say that. I don't want any more of those.
Well, you know what? You can't make everyone happy. you can make your community happy, and they're always going to be your core ride or dies. But you're always going to have these people on the outskirts that are not going to agree with you for whatever reason. That just means that you're growing. That just means you're reaching a broader range of people. And it's like we were talking about before, what the Y-Files said. Your community is everything. And as you grow your community, you're going to encounter those elements. I mean, you can imagine the amount of hate they probably get. They've got like 5 million subscribers.
Oh my gosh.
Just imagine some of the comments that they get on their
Oh,
channel.
I couldn't imagine. I couldn't. People are so weird.
You know my favorite thing to do to a hater? If they're really that bad and I really don't like their comment, I'll just hide them from the channel and let them talk to air. Because sometimes I think that's worse than blocking them. Because when you block them, they just can't see you. So that makes them madder.
Oh.
When you hide them from the channel, they still see you. They still comment. But
wow. Okay. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. So they're hidden, but they still see their comment. They don't know that they're hidden.
Jen, you don't stream The Sims though, right? You just do Coffee Talk once a week.
I do stream The Sims. In fact, I was starting to work with Mr. Caleb here. And this is actually, we started Caleb on Friday Night Live. I was challenged to go outside of my comfort zone.
Oh.
So we created a Sim who is, let's bring him up for a second. He's a snob. He's chased by death. Mean.
Oh my gosh.
Fringe. Paranoid. Suave speaker. He got that on a getaway. He had a formative moment as a child where he annoyed everyone and everything. He has an atrocious reputation.
So no good traits? I'm just waiting for the good trait.
He has 0 good traits that he's developed so far. He's basically, and he's also into romance with men and women. And he also has a husband, poor Gunther over here, that he abuses relentlessly, that he's also made an enemy. He has tons of enemies. Look at this. Look at all these enemies. See, enemy.
Wow.
Enemy. And he's also trying to seduce Cordelia and steal her kingdom.
Oh man, who got you into playing this challenge?
So we did this on Friday Night Live. And the idea was, let's take Jen out of her comfort zone as far as we can. Because I normally play very nice Sims, very family-oriented Sims. Sims who don't cause trouble. Sims who don't do things like this. And I have to tell you, I have been having the most fun.
I bet.
Playing this guy, wreaking havoc, doing all kinds of mean things. Like right now, he's going to wake up his husband. It'd be even worse. Oh, and he's a Reaper.
Oh, see, I played as a Reaper once, and I never finished that career.
And I've never played as a Reaper at all, so this is my first time.
Oh wow, man, we buy so much stuff that we don't use, that we forget that we have it, and we pay for the content.
Exactly right. Exactly right. Oh, good, he's mad. Because
I've never played through as a Reaper. I think I got to like level 2 as a Reaper. I'm going to be doing more. I'm going to do some Sim stuff. I am. I keep saying it. And then I keep being pulled in all these different directions because I've heard from people with larger channels. The advice that I've gotten from people is that when you're a variety streamer, the algorithm punishes you for that. I've gotten that advice from a couple of different people. I don't know if they're right or if they're wrong because since I've started like rotating my games, I'm doing really well. So I don't know if they're right or if they're wrong, but I listen. Like I listen to everybody. Whenever I get advice,
Oh no. Caleb is getting fed up with Gunther being mean to him. He will divorce Gunther if it happens one more time.
oh my gosh. I don't have it playing because I don't want the echo.
I have
So
it
I'm
on
sitting
timer.
here, I'm in the chat, but I don't want to play it because I don't want the echo and I'm on my phone so I can't turn it down. Like I'm not on my PC right now. I just so happen to wake up, roll over. I wanted to check my emojis because I posted like my emojis with my membership. I stayed up so late trying to like figure it out. And I'm praying that those images aren't blurry because I was up late trying to figure out like, okay, what do I want this to look like? And so I rolled over to check to see like what people were thinking about them. And I just so happened to see that you were live. And I'm like, yes, I'm not streaming because a lot of Sunday mornings I've been streaming. Have you noticed that you and
Yes.
my schedules have been like that Sunday morning? It's either I'm asleep or I'm on stream. So whenever you do your coffee talks, I can never make it. But I woke up this morning, I'm like, I don't have nothing going on. Let me go catch up with Jen.
And I'm so glad you're here today. I know it's been a while since we've caught up and just, had our chats and hung out. And it's so
You,
awesome.
me, and KT need to do a collab. Like I would
Yes.
love it.
Yes. Well, why don't you, next time we do Friday Night Live, let me talk to KT about bringing you on.
I'm always so busy though, but I will make the time. Like maybe not next time because I have my schedule already up, and I think that that's gonna I think it's gonna like conflict with what time you guys go live on that Friday because Friday is my locked in day. Like I'm always live after SmackDown playing wrestling on Fridays. But I can move some things around because I have some other collabs like Joe. You know Joe, right? He came into KT stream and he gifted those memberships.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a collab coming up with him on a Sunday. I
Oh,
think it's next Sunday. He wants me to be the special guest referee for a tournament that he's putting together, like an online
oh,
tournament.
wow.
And so that's going to be really fun. I think it's next Sunday before WrestleMania, but I told him anytime. I love Joe. He's such a nice guy. Like I can't see Jack is from Joe's community. Like I can't sing his praises enough. I love Joe. So I'll be doing that this Sunday. And then I have my schedule up for this Friday, but that following Friday, if we can get it scheduled and KT gives okay, I'll make the time.
Well, I'll talk to KT later about it and see what's going on.
Yeah, I'll make, and maybe like this coffee talk, we talked about so much different stuff. I don't know what you guys do for your Friday night lives. What do you guys do? Like what is it? What consists of it?
Friday Night Live, we usually either KT will build something and I will do gameplay, or vice versa. I'll build something and KT will do gameplay. In between, we will talk about all kinds of things and just have a lot of fun discussing it. We also talk about upcoming content on our channels. Like she talks about what's coming up on 90 Day Fiance, what's coming up on Fairy Tales. And it's just last time we went almost 4 hours on Coffee Talk.
4 hours?
Four
I would
hours.
love that. That's like
Oh
a big,
no.
it's like a
No
big
fear,
girlfriend
Sherlock.
talk. And I'm missing
Oof, dabba
girlfriends since I've
dabba.
been playing these other games. Like I would love that.
That's exactly what it is. Think about hanging out. Oh, that's
For many
it.
Mubrith.
They're divorcing?
I think they're divorced. Yeah, they are divorced.
Sweat Yumba.
Yeah, they're divorced.
Do you have autonomy on or are you doing this?
Oh no. No, that was autonomy that time. I did not do that. I was talking to you and I caught it in the corner and I was like, oh my god.
Durfna.
Now, I did make it where he
Ooh,
started fighting with him, but
Well,
everything else
that's
he's
the
done, he's done on his own.
Overroy.
He's such a horrible person.
Bindraw.
All right, so let's move
Sherrod.
Gunther out.
Slain.
Actually, let's save the game because I don't want to lose this. Okay. CJack says, yippee-ki-yay. Absolutely.
I would love it. I will make the time. I do have, let me look at my schedule this week. I'm trying my best to be consistent. But Jen, you know how hard it is because do you have a consistent schedule? I don't think you do either.
I usually do. Like I have a steady work day and I work 9 to 5 and then I come home and I have family time and I try to do stuff for the channel at least 2 or 3 times a week if I can during the week. But usually I reserve it all for the weekend. That's one of the reasons why I do Coffee Talk at this time because this is the only time really I have the ability to do a podcast like this because I can't do it on Saturday night. We're always busy. Can't do it on Friday night usually. Can't do it on Sunday because it's the day before work and I'm getting things ready for work the next day. So this is like the only time really I can do Coffee Talk. But I love that it's early in the morning on a Sunday because one of the things I wanted to do for my New Year's resolution was get up a little bit earlier to get stuff done. So this podcast fits right in line with my New Year's resolution. And at the same time, I'm building the channel, I'm building a community, and I'm having a great time doing it. So I
It's
can't
not that
argue.
early for you though, right?
It's 9:30. We usually start at
Oh, it
9:30.
is. It is early. It is early. It's 8 o'clock here.
Yeah. Wow, it's 11 o'clock already. Wow. Time
Yeah, I
flies.
woke up and rolled over. I was like, I caught Jen because I'm supposed to be. Man, I told myself like I'm a binge watch Jen because once I realized like you don't need 1,000 subscribers to hit like that partner program stage 1.
Mm-hmm.
Who told me that? I forgot who told me that. But once somebody told me that, I was like, let me binge watch Jen because all you need is 500 subscribers and you need, what was the watch time? I think 3,000 watch time.
Right.
So I'm like, I made it a point that I was gonna binge watch you, and then I got busy and I didn't. So when I woke up this morning, I was like, score.
Well, I'm so glad that you are here with us today. I know that you've been wanting to get on the show for a while, and I'm glad that you came by today. It's so awesome to have you here. We talked about a lot of stuff today. I'm glad that we had the conversations we did. And again, tell everybody about your stream tonight. When can we catch you?
I am playing Resident Evil. I think it's 9 p.m. PST. I'm not very good at the game at all, but I have a great time. Like when I tell you guys, I've been playing these different games after playing The Sims for like The Sims took like 10 years of my life. That was the only game I played religiously. And now that I'm getting back into these other games, don't expect to see professional gameplay. Expect to see my full personality on display while I'm struggling through these games, having a great time. So that's tonight at 9 p.m. PST.
Awesome. I will try to make an effort to catch you. It may be a little too late for me, but I'll definitely try to watch you on the rewatch and leave you a comment if I can't catch you tonight.
Thanks,
And
Jen.
I want to give a shout out to KT at Just a Mom Sims. Check out her live stream tonight, 7:30 Central Time, 8:30 Eastern. It looks to be a lot of fun tonight. We've got she's got a wild time, it looks like there. So we're going to see how her live stream goes tonight. And as always, you can catch Sunday Morning Coffee Talk 9:30 Eastern unless otherwise posted. And this week, you do want to see a new Leah and Javi Salvadorada adventure, episode 6. I am in a temple that I've never, well, actually, episode 5, not 6. I'm in a temple that I've never been in before in Salvadorada. And I got to tell you, it was quite interesting. I had a great time doing it. And you can actually hear my reaction as I was playing in this episode. It's going to be Wednesday night, 8 p.m. We're doing a premiere. Join us in the live chat. And soon I will be posting behind the scenes on my Patreon for Nina and Amanda season 4. Some content has already been added there, so be sure to check that out as well. And coming in May, those 5 kids are coming back for season 2. And we're going to follow up with 5, well now 6 young adults and see what their life is like. So once again, I just want to say thank you, Leira, for joining me today. It was absolutely phenomenal. I had a great time. We talked about a lot of stuff. Is there anything you'd like to leave off with in final thoughts?
Um, Me, what do I want to lead off with? I want to lead off with always be kind. Um, Support smaller streamers always. And I will be back to hang out.
Absolutely. Couldn't put it better. That was a wonderful way to leave us off. And thank you, C-Jack, for being in the chat. Thank you, silent viewers, for watching. Until next time, this is Jen, the GXSimmer. We didn't do a lot with Mr. Caleb today, but hopefully we will see how that goes on the next episode of Sunday Morning Coffee Talk and see if he's actually going to divorce Gunther or if they'll be able to reconcile. Who knows? And I will be releasing clips of this series. So if you missed any of the episodes on past episodes of Coffee Talk, you will be able to see them as clips individually. So you don't have to watch the whole thing. So until next time, this is Jen, the GXSimmer. Hope you have a terrific day or night. Big shout out to my Patreon supporters. I thank you profusely for helping this channel to grow, and that goes for the rest of you as well. Have a great Sunday. See you next week. Special thanks to LeiraSimmer. Check out her channel on Leira Games and KT at Just a Mom Sims. Take care, everybody.